Leadership is a skill like any other. It is a practicable, learnable skill, and it is something that you work on. It's like a muscle. If you practice it all the days, you will get good at it and you will become a strong leader. If you stop practicing, you will become a weak leader.
According to Simon Sinek, most leaders have it wrong. They make it their role to be responsible for their shareholders, their product, their results, and a plethora of priorities, when a true leader is in charge of their people. Sinek teaches that the two single most important traits a successful leader must develop are empathy and perspective. Empathy means caring for the individual and creating an environment conducive to what Simon calls each person's natural best, both in work and well-being. Perspective means knowing the game that you are in, rather than focusing on beating the competition or succeeding next quarter, focusing on where you are going in the long-term or infinite game. In this video, we will outline how to care for and bring out the natural best in individuals. We will explain Simon's Golden Circle theory to focus on your why and long-term vision over short-term success. Lastly, we will share 5 steps to be a successful leader right now. Simon teaches that leading is not being in charge, it is taking care of those in our charge. He shares that because we have failed to teach people to lead and inspire, we have organizations filled with workers who do not feel connected to their company, feel unvalued, and unable to be themselves. For individuals and businesses to thrive, we need empathy. Simon began one of his TED Talks through a story of his stay at the Four Seasons Las Vegas. Simon described purchasing coffee at the coffee stand in the lobby. The barista who served him provided such an incredible experience, Simon felt compelled to ask him, "Do you like your job?" The barista replied, he loves his job. The barista explained that throughout his workday, he is continually approached by managers asking him how he is doing, how they can support him, and if there is anything he needs. Not only are his personal managers offering support, but all managers company-wide offer this genuine support throughout the day. The barista shared that he also works at Caesar's Palace, where he hates his job. Rather than offering support, the managers at Caesar's Palace are hyper-focused on mistakes and make their presence known most when employees do something wrong. The barista said that at Caesar's Palace, he tries his best to keep his head down to make it through the workday. But here at the Four Seasons, I feel I can be myself. Simon says that empathy is concern and support for the human being, not just their output.
Empathy is being concerned about the human being, not just their output. And we have to practice empathy.
It means listening to understand. When someone has made a mistake, it means asking what is going on and offering support, rather than warning or punishment. Much of Simon Sinek's work involves speaking to groups of high-level executives. These groups commonly ask how to deal with millennials. He said most groups he works with see millennials as a problem generation and are looking for help to fix their performance and attitude. Simon explains we can practice empathy with groups we don't understand using the acronym PTI, which stands for Parenting, Technology, Impatience, and Environment. Simon teaches that millennials were raised with a failed parenting strategy that has led to extreme lack of self-esteem and a false idyllic perspective of the world and business. Millennials have been taught false idealism. They've been told they can do anything and have been given medals for participation, or as he says, coming in last. But when they enter a corporate environment, these idyllic teachings do not hold true, and their self-image is destroyed. Millennials have grown up in a world of filters and false confidence, leading the world to think they are confident, when really, they lack confidence and courage and cannot ask for support when they need it. T stands for technology, which exacerbates the self-esteem problem. Dopamine is the chemical created when we achieve a goal or complete a task. Alcohol, nicotine, and gambling create dopamine, and dopamine is also released when we receive approval and gratification via technology and social media. Although there are rules and laws controlling gambling, nicotine, and alcohol, we do not have laws governing technology and social media. Millennials and young generations are chemically addicted to technology and thus lack interpersonal skills. Rather than forming authentic connections, they turn to social media for approval and validation. Ultimately, millennials are unable to regulate their stress and emotions and struggle to form authentic relationships. I stands for impatience. While corporate America says that millennials are entitled, Sinek argues they are impatient due to their conditioning and experience. They grew up in a world of next-day delivery and instant messages. They have applied this belief to life, believing that life and career should also have instant gratification. They feel like failures because their relationship and career require patience. Lastly, E stands for environment. Most corporate environments do not care for the individual as a human being. Simon speaks of the concept of shareholder supremacy, popularized in the 80s and 90s, that is still the standard today, prioritizing shareholder value as the top priority of the company.
You talk to any public company and you ask them their priority and they say maximize shareholder value. Really? That's normal today. We don't even perceive it as broken or damaged or wrong or outdated.
Sinek likens this priority to a coach prioritizing the needs of fans over the needs of the team's players. He describes mass layoffs as using someone's livelihood to balance the books. He says the same companies that communicate they want to build trust also participate in mass layoffs, meaning people can no longer support their families because the company has failed to meet an arbitrary projection. Not only is this devastating for those laid off, but it instills an environment of fear for those who remain. Simon shares that every decision a company makes is a communication, and those who stay with the company after mass layoff come to work every day afraid to ask for help, think out of the box, and be themselves in general. Simon says, "We've created an environment where everyone comes to work and lies, hides, and fakes, and we're asking our youngest generation to succeed." Simon attended a meeting with high-level executives of a company he was working with. The executives were listening to a presentation from a paid consultant. Most executives were nodding along, but Simon did not understand the presentation. When Simon asked for help understanding and admitted he did not understand anything, the rest of the executives all admitted that they did not understand the presentation either. Because Simon was willing to ask for help and be the idiot, everyone else in the room was able to understand and bring the information into their organization in a way that adds value. To create an environment that encourages creativity, we must allow for a slower-paced workflow with space to think outside the box, chase after crazy ideas, make mistakes, and ask questions. Simon says we must ask questions like, how do I help my people be at their natural best?
How do I help my people be at their natural best? Right? We're not asking these questions. We are not practicing empathy. We have to start by practicing empathy and relate to what they may be going through. And it will profoundly change the decisions we make. It will profoundly change the way we see the world.
We all have different strengths. This is great for business. We can look to each other as mirrors, learning from other strengths, so that as a company, we integrate more information and all develop our individual skills and talents as much as possible. The second most important quality a top leader must have is perspective. Simon discovered a pattern in great leaders and organizations of the world. He found that they all act and communicate the same way. He calls this method the golden circle. Visualized as 3 circles, the center circle is the why, the next outer circle is the how, and the outermost circle is the what. Why is your company's purpose, cause, and belief. Why your organization exists. Most companies work from the outside in, but the best leaders of the world operate from the inside out. He shares that Apple communicates their why first. They believe in challenging the status quo and thinking differently. Then they explain the way they do it, which is a result of their why. Simon teaches that it is much more important to focus on doing business with those who share your beliefs, not doing business with everybody. He says that people do not buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and that this is based on biology.
People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology.
The human brain has 3 major components. The outer neocortex corresponds with the outer what from the golden circle, responsible for rational analytical thought and language. The middle sections are the limbic brain, responsible for feeling, behavior, and decision-making. He says, when we communicate from the outside in, complex information is communicated and understood, but doesn't drive behavior or action. Communicating from the inside out speaks to the part of the brain that drives behavior. He reminded that Martin Luther King gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. He didn't tell people what they needed to change. He told them what he believed. Spotify is a streaming service that has utilized the golden circle theory. Their mission is to unlock the potential of human creativity. They give millions of artists the opportunity to create financial stability and visibility and offer billions of fans the opportunity to be inspired by it. Spotify is one of the most successful streaming services in the world because their why drives their business. Amazon's why is to continually raise the bar of customer experience. Their how is helping consumers through technology, and their what is helping consumers find, discover, and buy anything. Perspective means knowing the game you are playing. Most companies are working to beat their competitors or their next quarter projections. Simon reminds us that it's not about the battle, it's about the war. Jim Sinek, the founder of Costco, said that public companies are looking to succeed for the quarter. We're looking for the next 50 years. Sinek shares that perspective means knowing that business is not about winning or losing, because business is an infinite game. He says that leaders must organize their resources and make decisions based on the infinite game to outlast and eventually frustrate the competition out of the game altogether. Sinek had the opportunity to speak at both a leadership summit for Microsoft and a summit for Apple. He remembered that at the Microsoft Summit, 70% of executives spent 70% of their presentations focused on how to beat Apple. At the Apple Summit, 100% of the presenters spent 100% of their presentation talking about how to help teachers teach and how to help students learn. He said that while Microsoft is obsessed with the competition, Apple is obsessed with where they are going and why. How can we shift our perspective to the infinite game? We can have the goal daily of finding innovative solutions. We can compete against our past selves, not others. We learn from the competition, both from their mistakes and successes, rather than trying to beat them every time. We can make employees' well-being, satisfaction, support, and learning a non-negotiable foundation and way to operate, to be the best humans we can be and create financial success. Here are 5 steps to take to become the best leader you can be right now. Number 1. Build employees' interpersonal skills and confidence, including the ability to ask for help. Number 2. Create an environment that supports well-being and one's natural best, such as a slower-paced work culture with the space, flexibility, and support to be creative, innovative, and team-oriented. Number 3. Shift the focus to the long term in goals, vision, and leadership. Number 4. Provide comprehensive leadership training. Number 5. Incorporate peer reviews to find and promote trustworthy employees. Being a good leader is less complicated than you think. Understand your game and manage your priorities, and you will excel in leadership and business with dignity.